Hello, my name is Ashley, this is Faithful Rattos, and welcome back. This is Sophonax, and I'm guessing Marissa, based on behaviour. Mara is up here. So in today's video, I am going to be talking to you about how I'm going to make a memorial display of some of my rat's bones. Now, I mentioned this in a vlog previously. I showed a little bit of me cleaning them. I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about how to clean the bones. Now, I'm not an expert. This is just what I've learned and my experience. And somebody actually asked me to make this video, which is so funny because I was planning to make this video anyway. So I will first show you what I used to get the bones so white. So this is Periite's skull. Periite was my original heart rat. He was a cheeky, funny, silly boy. And as you can see, I've managed to get his skull pretty white. So the first step is obviously digging them up. So I mentioned that in a vlog. I was burying some other rats, so I decided to bury them in the same pot, dig up their bones. I mainly wanted to get their skulls, but I did manage to get some other assortment of bones that I'm going to use in the display as well. So this is Periite's skull, and the first thing that we did was obviously dig them up and wash them off with water, just to get all the debris, the mud, the dirt, any other goopy stuff that was there. Then I degreased them. Now this is a very, very important step because this is getting all of the grease out of the bones, and this is something that if you skip this step, your bone can smell and go really funny and like decompose further, which is obviously not what you want. So that is a really important step, and that takes quite a long time. So I had my bones degreasing for about, I want to say at least 3 weeks, maybe even a little bit longer. So that's a really important step. Don't forget to do the degreasing. Now it's really simple to do the degreasing. All you need to do is get your bones, put them in warm soapy water that is using washing up liquid, and just leave them to sit. Change them out when the water gets cloudy. That is the grease coming out. Change them out when the water gets cloudy, and just give it some time, and it will eventually pull out all the grease because of the washing up liquid. Then the next step is to whiten. But before I whiten, I wanted to see just how they looked without the whitening. So what you need to do is lay them out to dry. Don't dry them forcefully, just put them on a paper towel and let them dry themselves. But it's really important that you let them fully dry because they are quite a bit darker when wet compared to when dry. So even after the last go of whitening that I did, the bones still looked pretty dark. And then I left them to dry, and it was incredible just how white they got when they were dry. So that's a really important step. Now, in order to whiten your bones, what you need to use is peroxide or hydrogen peroxide. I used 2 different types over the course of this whole process. I originally got a 3% hydrogen peroxide liquid. Now this is a 12% hydrogen peroxide cream. So this is actually hair dye developer. That's hydrogen peroxide, so you can see why it works. So I used this mixed into water at a rate of about 1 part this, 2 parts water, 3 parts water. The 3% hydrogen peroxide you don't really need to dilute anymore. You can just use that as it is. I found this worked better, but that may be because I tried to whiten before they were fully degreased. So I bought this just because this 1 litre bottle, you dilute it and it lasts longer that way. So that's why I went for this one. And I think I only paid like £7 or something for this. So yeah, and that is how I whiten the bones. Annoyingly, I didn't take any pictures or video or anything of that process, which I wish I would have done, but I didn't. Maybe in the future I will show that process to you, but I don't have that right now. So what I do have is my rat's bones in this bag. So obviously Periite's is down there as well. I have this lovely deep frame that opens like this. Hold on. With a magnet. I thought this would be much easier to work with than one of those that opens, you know, where you have to push it through the back. I thought this was easier to make sure that it all sort of fit in. It is deep enough for the skulls, and those are the biggest bones obviously. So I'm really excited. Then I have this craft moss that looks pretty real, and that's what I was going for. I'd wanted a moss that would stay green, because often I've used moss, like real moss, and it's turned brown. And I don't want this one to turn brown. So I have, this is fake moss. This is from the range. This was from Hobbycraft. And I was looking for dried flowers for a really long time, and I couldn't find ones that I wanted, small white flowers that were real looking enough. That was one thing that I really, really wanted and needed. I wanted them to look real. And none of the fake flowers did. They just looked like plastic. And I was in the market yesterday in town when I went out, and I found a florist, and she was selling this baby's breath. And I thought it was perfect, and it can just dry in the frame naturally, and it can be nice and natural. So yes, so I have this baby breath as well, and I think I may add some crystals to the display once it's finished. So the first thing that I'm gonna need to do is put moss in the background. That's what I'm gonna do. So this is gonna be set aside for a minute. The first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to glue moss to the background. Then I am going to lay out the skulls and the bones and everything on just a different surface, so I can see which pattern I want it to be in, and then we'll start moving them over into the frame, and then put the flowers on last for finishing touches. So yeah, that is what I'm going to do. I'm a little bit nervous because I want it to go well. I don't want it to have any sort of like mistakes or anything, but I hope you really enjoy the rest of the video. So I've made a start by gluing the moss to the background. I started in the corners for no particular reason, but I just wanted to see how it ends up looking. So I think it's looking okay. Okay, that is almost impossible to open. That is almost impossible to open one-handed. But yes, so I'm going to continue gluing a really thin layer of moss to the whole thing. I'm going to make sure that it thins out in the centre so that there is enough height for the skulls, because obviously those are the tallest profile bones and I want to make sure they fit in here. So I have glued all of the moss on, and it has bits that look like little wood chips, and the moss is slightly different shades of green, and I think it looks really, really good. And this is what it looks like with it closed. I think it's gonna look so cool. So, I think I have found the position of the bones that I like. So, Cade is in the middle. This one is Periite. Oh dear, the tape is stuck to me. Periite, Coram, Hester, Pullman. And they've got their own lower jaws next to each other. I feel like I might add some little bits in once it's in the frame, but I think this is the layout that I'm going to go for. So I have moved it over into the shadow box, and this is what it will look like when it's closed. I just have to glue it. I've also done this so I can write on the back who is who, just so I don't forget. But yeah, I'm super excited. It's almost finished. Well, I also have to put the flowers on as well, but yeah, I think it looks great. finished. I think I've got a little bit of footage of the process. Some of it is just footage and some of it is me talking, but I'm happy to share with you my finished product. So here it is. Can they see it? And I'll just open it so you can see the inside. I am really happy and excited about this. This is the first big scale project I've done with bones. I have done a smaller project. So this is Coulson on a piece of citrine. We actually found his skull just on the top of the pot. It was kind of weird. A squirrel or something must have dug it up, but that's the first one that I've done myself. This is the second one, but it's on a much bigger scale because there's 5 rats here and this is only one little one. And yeah, so these are my lost boys, as I refer to them, the boys that I lost in the Bordetella outbreak. And I'm just so happy with how this turned out. It's exactly how I imagined something like this to be. I did have a lot of extra bones though, and I still have extras, but I did go ahead and make 2 little jars of bones. So they look like this. There's this one and I glued a bit of moss to the top of that one, and there's that one and I glued a bit of the flowers on top. But I have these as well because I had a lot of extra bones and I thought I could display these as well. Now I still have extra bones, so I may do another jar or do something else. But yeah, I'm really happy with how these memorials have come out, and I hope that it's helpful to you to see what you can do if you want to do something like this. You don't have to be a professional, you don't have to be an expert, you don't have to have done it before, but you still can create something really, really lovely and something nice to remember your rats by. Now, as I've mentioned in many videos, this is not for everybody, and I don't think that it is, and I don't judge you for what works for you. Personally, I don't really like cremation, so it's not something that I choose to do, but please do respect what I choose to do and don't leave any nasty comments. So I hope this video was interesting and maybe you got some ideas from it. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to see more content about my rat keeping journey, if you want to see some more informational videos, do click subscribe so you can follow along, and leave a comment down below as to your thoughts on this type of memorial, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!